Substantially so.
Substantially? Like barely. Like, I'm just saying. Anyway, welcome to May You Are Real and Uncut. As you can see, I have a guest. Doesn't he look happy to be here? This is my guest, Derek. Derek, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Derek J Henderson, and I am happy to be here. I'm just suffering from a slight headache, so bear with me.
Headache. Okay. Oh, we got our first guest. That was quick. Hey, Lundy. Hope all is well with you, gorgeous. Okay, so something that I really want to talk about is a conversation we had previously, and it was about like approaching women. And I just kind of want to get your view and your thoughts about approaching women, especially here in Atlanta, because we're in Atlanta on what they say is the best single city. I don't know who said that. I don't know where they said it at. I believe otherwise. Hey, EJ. So I just kind of want to get like a male point of view, like what you experience as far as like talking to or approaching women, or whatever you want to share concerning that.
This is my order, right?
Yes. Okay. This is mine.
Coronavirus,
you know what? Let me just lean away. No.
Because somebody didn't go to church.
Yeah, Two somebodies apparently, and they sit in these here chairs. Okay, so tell me your experience.
Okay, can you frame that in a question?
Okay, so how do you go about approaching a woman that you see, like you see her from a distance or whatever, that is attractive? Like, how do you go about approaching her?
Okay, so they weren't privy to our previous conversation?
No.
So I don't, that's a statement, not a question.
Oh, my bad.
So I don't know if I'm really the best guy to ask that to, because I say that. I told you that I'm typically not the one that's doing massive approaches here and there. I'm really deliberate with who I choose to engage with and approach. So when is the last time I approached someone?
Good question.
You know, I flirt and I'm friendly, but as far as an approach, like I gotta go bag her, like the whole bagging thing.
What is bagging?
Bagging is like, that's a term that men use when they're dating for sport, and I don't mean that in a negative way. Bagging means you're going there to procure something. You're going to seize her.
Okay. And what do you mean by seize?
I don't know.
That was my word.
Seize.
Okay. So you said that they use the term bagging for sports. So what about when you're actually interested? What is that? What term do y'all use for that?
What term do we use for that? Wow. I'm thinking about when I'm in conversation with guys, what is the term that we use for that? Yeah, bagging is a little bit more dismissive. So if a guy's like more serious, then I don't know if we use that term. It would be like I have to think about that actually. Okay.
So thinking back to the few times or the one time once a decade that you actually approach a woman, like what happened? Like what transpired? Did you use a line or did you just
No, I'm not a line.
Grab her by the hand when she's walking past in the club? We hate that, but it's okay.
Yeah, I hate that. What about
just don't grab our booty.
What about when we sliding by and we touch the small of your back? Like,
it's not as disrespectful, and the grabbing of the hand isn't that disrespectful. But when they grab the butt, it's like, bruh.
Who's grabbing butts out here?
Like the Me Too dudes that's getting arrested and stuff.
Like these are like people that's really out here grabbing strangers' butts.
They used to when I was in the club. I mean, it's been a while. I mean, I still visit sometimes, but it be grown people.
I didn't know that was an option.
It's not, unless you want to get throat chopped.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that's never been one of my approaches. So okay, so when I approach a woman, I'm really just going and being myself.
Okay, so can we role play?
Sure.
Okay, so I'll be the girl, and you just, come talk to me, or whatever it is that you do.
Oh, so okay, so that would be, so we could role play.
Okay.
I'll tell you this. And we had this conversation. So y'all are not privy, but we had a conversation based off a post that I made, and we had a back and forth, and she was trying to give her guidance. I guess I want to make sure I say this right on how I would or wouldn't approach a woman in a hypothetical situation.
Mine wasn't a guidance; it was an inquiry. I was inquiring. I'm like, what would you do if you saw a woman that? Because I mean, you can't see her personality, obviously. But if you saw someone that you felt was beautiful enough, or something about her attracted to you enough for you to go talk to her.
If that's the case, then it's for me. It's not a line. It's really I'm going across the room. I'm going to introduce myself. Hello, my name is Derek Henderson. I saw you from across the room, and I just had to come speak to you. I think you're so beautiful today.
Oh, thank you.
What's your name?
Mayu.
Mayu. That's how I would start it off. It wouldn't be.
Boom. Look at the people. People, that's what you should do. We don't need a line. We don't need you to be like, oh, sorry, you must, did it hurt when you fell from heaven? We don't need that. Please don't. We're going to laugh and be like, oh, that's cute. But it's not cute. It's annoying, actually. Just saying. Hey, Shauna. So we talked about that. Okay, so that's what you would do. You just be yourself.
Yeah, be yourself.
And I think that's like the best, to me, that's the best thing to do. Just be yourself, because we don't want anyone that's trying to like run game on us or whatever. Do you have a different approach when you're trying to run game?
I don't run game.
Okay.
If I do, now let me say I don't run game. Like, it's fun. Like, I recently put up a meme, like, when y'all texting, y'all both know it ain't going nowhere. That would be the extent of it. But I'm never like, I never throw enough carrot out there for you to believe that, you know, this is something. I guess that's why I get the term, like, oh, you're a flirt or whatever. But yeah, running game, I'm not a game runner. Not really out here. Look, I live in Atlanta. It's beautiful women every day. Every day I walk out the door, I'm inundated with attractive options. But for me personally, for one man's opinion, I'm not really trying to waste people's time, a woman's time, unless it's something that speaks to me, like something. This ancestor got to speak to me, like that's the one.
She's the one.
I'm pretty shy and timid, actually. So for me to break that barrier, it's an unctioning.
Okay, of the spirit.
SAT word. Yeah. So it's just like you get the voice in the back of your head, like, Derek, if you don't, you got to say something. You got to go talk to this woman. You got to go seize her.
Okay.
I guess now I agree with the season thing, but the seasoning. Not the Zatarain.
The cessation of it.
The cessation of it. I think so. My pushback when you had brought up the part about seizing is I took it in the context of
doing.
No. There's doing, but I'm expanding on that now. Like I don't go out and like last time we talked, I was at a Walgreens and she had called and I told her, like, I just walked past this Walgreens and there was 2 attractive women, but it's not enough for me to go talk to them. So I wouldn't go seize them because I know, like, at the end of the day, like, what's my long-term goal with this person? Why am I entering this person's life if I don't have anything to offer them other than just a distraction? And then, like, I'm going to get your number and then I got a text and then it's going to fall apart because I'm going to get bored and I'm on to the next Walgreens or the CVS and someone else. So unless I get this unctioning, there's no point in me wasting my time and energy and this other person's time and energy. I'm just going to admire you from afar. That's great artwork, but unless I feel like I really got to get to know this woman,
then you just gonna let her walk by.
Yeah,
and look at her booty when she goes by, right? You can say it's the truth, especially if she got on a sundress or leggings.
Oh, it's sundress season coming too.
It is. It
was
nice
a nice
today.
day. Oh my gosh!
Right.
Y'all need to like free game. The High Museum. If you like it's free every second Sunday. But I'm just not a cheapskate. I just went there Friday. They have like a lot of Friday events. It's a real nice crowd that comes out. All colors. It's like a real sexy.
What do you mean all colors?
White, black, like the city,
okay.
the Atlanta metropolitan, the cosmopolitanness of Atlanta really comes out. So
that's what's up. Okay, so we didn't like do like a full intro like for you. Like you didn't say like how old you are, if you have kids. Cause I have friends on here and like if they are single and they're wanting to and they happen to be interested, maybe they might want to know your stats.
I'm 37, unmarried, never married, no kids. Live in Atlanta, raised in Atlanta. Not a Grady baby, but I've been here since 2. I'm an Atlanta boy.
He just doesn't say shouty.
Yeah, and I work down at Turner Broadcasting. I do say shouty. It got to come out though. Like. It's levels to Derek, like.
Okay, like what level brings out the shouty?
Ooh.
That sundress.
No, the sundress, like that's a different flow state. You don't be on shouty on the sundress.
Okay.
That's taking up by the hand. You walking through the park, festival, Dogwood, and you just admire you.
Okay.
That feminine, that April
Mason femininity.
That femininity you find you kind of like a puppy chasing a little bit. You know what I mean?
Gwen and I said what we lying about over here. Love so silly. Hey, love. Get him.
I just found out like I upgraded from being boyfriend and girlfriend in love to like we're like
y'all married.
Yeah,
that's
we
what's
married
up. Y'all doing long distance marriage
We're doing
right
long
now?
distance marriage.
Okay, hopefully y'all can just come together.
Yeah, so anybody out there, you know, just know like this is a triad.
We're not doing that. We're not doing that. Okay. Okay, so I made a post in the group, and I said, what did I say? Matter of fact, let me go. I'm just gonna pull it up just like for accuracy purposes. But it was about being gentle and the gentleness of a woman, yada yada yada. Let me see. Oh, so I saw the a post by one of my friends, and it was this picture. It says men need gentleness too. So I said men only, even though other people be commenting. I said men only. 2 questions. When was the last time you had a woman be gentle with you? And 2, what does it look like when a woman is being gentle?
Actually, it hasn't been rare.
Okay.
My love language is physical touch. So ain't nothing like a gentle touch. Rubbing my head. I was with somebody, we had like a nice long date, adventurous date, and on the ride back on the bus, like I took a nap. Like I said earlier, I'm 37 years old. So yeah, I laid on her lap, and then she just played in my hair or just gently stroked, like stuff like that. Like it goes a long way. You don't always don't be a hard rock when you really are a gym. Like it's okay to let like some barriers down and not feel like a dude is gonna play or whatever. Like dudes do need affection and gentleness. Even if like that's not your love language, guys notice that. That kind of like separates you from other women. The fact that you will lower your guard down and be gentle.
You said even if that isn't your love language, you're talking about the physical touch.
Correct.
Okay, go ahead.
So I imagine like just a little bit of gentleness. For example, I dated a young lady years ago. Super, like the most competent person I've ever met in my life. Super smart, very helpful, had me on my ish, but she was not gentle. She was mean, self-admitted mean, like to where it didn't matter. And that was just sort of how she interacted. And she didn't even like, she would like stick me.
Wow.
And I really respect this person. This person is amazing, but I can't. You're not gonna be sticking me. You gotta let them thorns down, Sonic.
I 100% agree. There's this phrase. I'm gonna probably screw it all the way up, but it says something like, a woman should be a soft place for her man to land when he falls.
But you know what? So how often?
Agree or disagree?
I agree.
Okay.
So that's why. How important do you take social media in our interactions, even as singles and interacting in the dating market?
I would need you to be more specific because for me personally, it's a tool just like anything else, and it can either be mishandled or it can be handled correctly. So I would need more details.
So the example I'm bringing up is a couple of months ago or like last year.
Okay.
There was this viral theme going around in the women's group, in the women's sphere. The whole.
Not the gray sweatpants.
No, the don't be his piece, girl. You remember that?
Kind of.
Yeah, and it was like
every time I saw it, I was like, next.
Yeah, it was just like, oh my God, they like, don't be his piece. Like, you a sucker if you be his piece. I forget the jokes around it. I know, so that's what I'm saying. Like, how much do you take it seriously, but how much is really symptomatic of like a societal energy that's going out there? And I know I would read it, and at first it was funny. And then it started taking off. I'm like, I don't know where the joke ends and where reality picks off of.
I think. Okay, so my opinion on the whole peace thing or whatever, first of all, I think you should be a person's peace, but you're not solely responsible for creating that in its entirety for a whole nother human being. Part of it's going to come from inside and then the other part from their partner. But I 100% believe it is a window into what society deems is correct or accurate or typical or average. Especially like with that savage thing, where everybody want to be a savage. I'm like, why? Well, hold on. Why are we being savages? Do we know the definition of savage? I'm good. No, thank you. I'll let a man go fight the battles and, do stuff like that. So 100% agree that it is it is a window into what the majority of people are doing. But I know that I'm not in the majority, so I know I don't subscribe to 90% of the crap that society is spewing out either here or on the gram or on YouTube or wherever. So
I don't even know if it's necessarily the average or the majority. I just know it's like a theme that reflects a push back on some things. So it's a push back on what we've looked at as certain roles. So it's like, and I don't know where that comes from. It may be some legitimacy in there. We got to find that string, but when you pull the string all the way and it's just like, well, don't be his piece, then we started getting into the warm part. And that's not to exonerate men, because we do the same. There are toxic joke themes. I'm the biggest $40 proponent on the web right now.
Hashtag facts.
So that's what I'm saying. It be jokes, but it be funny. But it look, I'm a social commentator.
Oh,
I see what's going on out here, and y'all think the $40 is a joke. It is not a joke. Just like I think
it's a joke to women who know their value is far above rude.
No, so y'all don't think it's a joke. Y'all be like, what is going on? Like, is really women out here for $40? So it's not even a joke to y'all. Y'all just be like, that is like, you can't be serious.
We be like, where they do that at? Not here.
Look, if y'all only knew.
What are they? Okay, so do you have a scenario?
The
like,
women
tell
in the
me.
cubicle next to you got an OnlyFans page.
Okay, what exactly is an OnlyFans page? Because somebody told me I should get one, and I'm trying to figure out like what that really is.
You need to get one, but you're not going to get one.
So what is it? Tell me.
Oh, it's just so again, this is where we go back to
our centering is all the way off.
It's like, are we on a fault line or something? Like
you didn't come all the way in. You I already fixed it, and now it's
okay. So like I said, with the whole some of the themes, so the $40 is the pushback from men saying, I'm tired of getting out here and then spending my time and energy and it don't go nowhere. How about I just start spending $40 on women? That's a reaction to what they're experiencing. I'm not saying it's a healthy reaction.
What is the $40 paying for?
You have to ask them. But $40 can get you a long way. Captain D, people is out here struggling. Like, don't get it twisted in this Trump economy.
Okay.
Y'all got to be invested in the stock market. If not, and you see what's happening with that, y'all need these $40.
Okay. That's what's up. I'm just keep working for now.
So also the OnlyFans. I don't even.
Oh wow. Okay.
Could be like a pushback because y'all been out here sending out these nudes to these dudes, and I'm getting them. Or y'all got y'all cooch all out there.
Wait, did you say you was getting them? I heard you say that. You said I'm getting them.
Oh, I'm just saying like my homeboy will come in and be like, look
at these nudes this girl sent.
Correct. So instead of y'all out here getting exposed to the dude that y'all love with the blossom out, you might as well you got a laptop, go ahead and do that for $40.
So is it like literally a $40 membership?
$40 is not $40. $40 is a concept.
So either way, it's basically saying get money. F dudes get money.
Yeah, so whether it's 5, 20 here, 40, but 40 is the ceiling. No, I'm not saying it's the ceiling. That's just $40 encompasses the idea that a lot of our relationships now are becoming transactional.
But I think that's a choice.
So you're not getting the gentleness because it's like, well, I'm gonna be gentle to you. What am I getting from you? You got to give me something before I can be gentle to you. Everyone's on guard and on defense from my perspective, and that's where you get these things, these memes, these hashtags. And I wouldn't call it the majority or the average. It's just
I would.
No, just like listening to rap. Like your parents, you tell you everyone thought they was a rapper or a dope boy or whatever. That's just entertainment. But it's loud and it has everyone like when I get in the car and I'm driving, I'm a dope boy. I got Cartier and Louis Vuitton and I'm Quavo when I'm driving. As soon as I get out the car, I go back to my regular life. I'm a regular dude or whatever. But when I get back in the car, nigga, I'm dropping the games off at my auntie house.
Okay.
So it's just like the pop culture thing. It's a matter of how much do you separate entertainment and the toxicity, and I hate I use that word. That's another popular thing. The toxicity of what we wade in, and how much do you say, okay, I understand what everyone is doing, but in reality, I'm not really hard. I'm gonna be gentle. I'm not really out here hoeing and giving $40 to chicks, so you can find the genuine person that you're actually looking for. So it's a mega.
You do that whenever you make that choice.
Right.
But I'd like to address something. So Brandy said, I honestly don't know what it means to be soft. So you were saying that this is not the average. And I beg to differ. I feel like the regular, average, everyday female is hard, is defensive, is like F dudes get money. Like, I feel like that's the majority right now. And so as someone who's trying to embrace their femininity more and doing different things to cultivate that, I don't want to be the average. I don't want to be a savage. I don't want to do this. I'm fine with actually being a work from home mother and wife if that's, what presents.
Ew.
I know that's what some people would say, but you know what? I'm confident enough in myself to be like, that's what I would choose. You choose what works for you.
Right.
But we can see, like, just in statistics about health and things like that, a lot of women have a lot of issues because they're trying to carry the weight of the world on their shoulders. They're trying to be the husband, the husband and the wife, the mother and the father, the breadwinner, the roommate. They're trying to do all these things. And I'm not saying that any woman can't do that. You can do whatever you choose to do. But are you really making a choice to do that? Or have you put yourself in that position? Or has life put you in the position where you feel like you have to do that and you can't choose to be like, I'd rather be a stay-at-home wife and mommy blogger.
Put it out there. I will say this. I feel like we don't pay attention to cultural.
Look at your guests.
Where did I see the guests?
She's right here where that little light is. Right there.
Oh, right there. That's
why talk to them because you're not looking up in the sky. Maybe they.
Hey, America. Like,
you don't have to lean up.
I'm Bernie Mac now.
You don't have to lean up.
So no, what I was saying is a lot of times I don't think we're aware of the muddle that we're in because we're in it. It's like, you can't tell fish they're in water. Mm-hmm. So if you look over trends, we don't notice how society has changed. So when you get the whole "don't be his piece," because we look back at Grandma and Coretta Scott King, she was his piece, and we look at Coretta. People don't want to be Corettas no more. Coretta probably tell daughters, don't do what I did or whatever. Don't be a fool of people's grandma. So we idealize a lot of things, and then we don't take in consideration the reality and the shift in society. Mm-hmm. So let's say more women wanted to be stay at home.
I say work from home.
Work from home. See, okay, so even
and the only reason why, because anyone who has a mama or has been a mama know that you're not just sitting at home. You got to take these kids to their practice. You got to do bake sales. You got to go to PTA meetings, etc. But continue.
Oh, when you said work from home, I actually thought you meant like
they can also earn income from there too.
Because I'm saying, like, most people.
Either way, they're not just chilling eating bonbons.
It's hard to make the sell in today's society in America of a one-income household. We got to be out here and getting it because there was a shift.
Depends on
in the past where women were shamed before, like, oh, you leaving the household to go out.
You're leaving your family. Who's gonna raise your kids? You're a bad mother. All that.
But then the trickle happened, and you got more and more, and now it's the norm. So now to retreat from that, to go back, well, yeah, just my husband works. Well, what do you do? Well, I'm just raise the kids or whatever. That's not in the norm. So
I kind of take pause when you said
whatever.
I just raised the kids.
Yes, but like that's what someone.
I know you don't mean it like that, but a lot of women even say that in their own words.
I'm spitballing, but you see, that would be how it would get framed. Oh, you just take care of the kids or whatever. And then you got people out here struggling with these $40. So people got to be working, and it's going to be hard to make that shift back. And who's to say everybody wants to make that shift back? Some people want to be working. So it's all with what you want to do. I think people need to make their own decisions.
Absolutely, 1,000%.
But take into account. So on that note, the fact that particularly in my circle that I deal with, particularly like Black demographics, middle-aged Black demographics, women are starting to make more than Black men. So with that, there's going to be some change in dynamics with the way we interact because the environment has changed. Before, the dude was expected to do certain things. Now women have come up, which is a good thing, which should be applauded, but we don't want to make the requisite changes, or we don't recognize that some of the dudes out here is going to be a little hesitant to make that change, or they're like, okay, well, you make more than me, but I'm still expected to do all this and do this and uphold the household. Like,
I think the issue with that, hi Shannon, I think the issue with that is that it has to be between those two people that are in the relationship.
Correct, but a lot of people don't even get the time to get into the relationship, and they're wondering why we're perpetually single, and we don't realize all these invisible, all the invisible barriers that we might have set up, and we box ourselves in, and then we don't realize, like, well, damn, why is nobody in my circle? Because you didn't put a box around your circle.
Absolutely, and I mean, and that's adulting. You have to be able to look in the mirror and be like, wow, I've been single for 3 years or 5 years or whatever, and I don't want to be. So what's stopping me from meeting the person that could potentially be my husband and future father of my children or my future wife or whatever? And that's where, I mean, and one thing that I'm so glad that our generation is grasping way more than our parents is therapy, counseling, all that good stuff, because let's just be honest, among the Black demographic, people aren't just being like, hey, I'm going to go to my therapy session. No, they're like, therapy, you better pray about that. Pray and fast, you'll be all right. Well, I don't pray and fast. I lost 10 pounds. That's great. But I still got these issues. So what are we going to do to move forward? So I'm glad that we're starting to like embrace counseling and therapy and self-improvement.
Are we starting to embrace it?
I am. I can't speak for anyone else. And the people in my circle are. And sometimes you outgrow your circle. So if you're in a circle and you feel like everybody around me is the same and we're not progressing and we're not improving and we're not doing better than the generation before us, then it might be time to upgrade your circle.
So can I ask you a question?
Absolutely. I'm an open book. So
with the fact that you just said you want to be in a relationship and you wonder like, okay, well, I want to be in a relationship with a man. How do you approach, is there a frustration that comes with the constant answer yourself, well, why am I not in a relationship yet? And what do you do with that frustration bag?
So for me, it's honestly, I feel like it's just it's going to just be some type of event where I'm going to meet that particular person, because unlike a lot of women, no shade lady, unlike a lot of women, I've done some digging and I've done some of the work. When Brandy was talking about not knowing how to be soft, I was that person. I was like super aggressive. I used to describe myself as a Tootsie Pop. If you know Tootsie Pop, it's hard on the outside, soft on the inside. You know Tootsie Pop? Yeah. I'm just saying that's how I used to describe myself. And eventually, I found April Mason, and she was a great help. And just doing the work. And even sometimes I still slip back into my masculine energy. So I don't really have the issue of like, oh, I haven't been on a date in 3 years. Like I had one last week, maybe this week. I don't even know. But I stay out on the single scene. So I don't really have the frustrations that I think a lot of women do. And I think a lot of women, they need to get out. They need to do some digging. They need to unpack some baggage and just do the work.
So,
and men too, y'all too. I'll get to y'all later.
So doing the work, what does that mean? So
it depends on the person. If your issue is, I don't trust no dude. Okay, you have trust issues. Now, do you want to talk to a therapist about that? Do you want to dig down? Why don't you trust a dude? Has every dude that you've been with cheated? Why are you attracting men that don't want to be loyal? Those are things that you're going to have to ask yourself. If your issue is self-confidence, maybe you are meeting dudes, but you're like, oh, I'm not good enough, or oh, my weight is this, or oh, my, I don't have pretty hair, or my skin's not, whatever that issue is, you have to address it. There's women who get hit on by men and they don't end up going on dates with them. Or maybe their attitude is just trash. Like they can be gorgeous, but they go out on a date and they don't get a second date.
But then we externalize that and we put it all out on everyone else.
Who's we?
I'm speaking.
Oh, you just mean
royal we.
Yeah, a lot of people do. And it's going to take wisdom to be like, okay, 10 people told me my attitude was effed up. My attitude might be effed up. Now, if one person said my attitude is effed up and 9 say it's not, then okay, it's probably, he don't know me, but.
So what about the whole take me as I am?
I need to write a little thing on my phone. This is my take me as I am. Take me as I am is an excuse for you to not do self-improvement. Now chew on that. And we're not talking about, oh, my weight or my skin or I have stretch marks. We're not talking about the stuff. But if people constantly tell you that there's a characteristic about you that maybe is just not very appealing, you can continue saying, take me as I am, and maybe you'll find someone that will take you as you are. But you could maybe increase your chances of finding someone if you just do some self-improvement and do some work on yourself and work on that quality that apparently is not that great anyway. Like, what do you get out of being a B? Or what do you get by being a playboy? Or whatever the issue is. Like,
I think people got to crash into their own beliefs before they learn some things.
Could be.
So we sitting around here waiting for people to discover some awareness. A lot of times, sometimes you don't know you've been running on E until
your car break down on the side of the road.
Until you roll over into a ditch or whatever. So,
do you feel like you've had a moment like that?
Where I crashed into my own beliefs,
or either where you just came to some higher level of consciousness where you realized, oh, I need to do this.
No, it's been a lot more subtle with me. I haven't had really a lot of like jagged edges had to stab me or get stomped on. Okay. But I've definitely had my road has been a lot more winding. It's been a lot more, self-reflective. But that doesn't mean I set myself up into whole mental models. When I was talking to you, I was almost asking you, like, yo, am I too much in my head here? Like, am I creating a problem by thinking about me and thinking this is a problem? With the whole, like, maybe I should just be approaching women and just, because I see people, they get in relationships and they date. But it was like, well, no. Maybe that's a self-sabotage by me telling myself, like, no, only go after the women that you're super attracted to, not just the women that you're attracted to. I mean, I have some deeper insights into that goes back into my childhood. I don't want to share it right here, but basically, like, yeah, one of my biggest fears is hurting a woman. So I have used that mental model as a way to justify staying out of relationships.
That makes perfect sense. But that's maturity and wisdom. There's a lot of people, especially men, because men are at least likely to go to like counseling stuff, that are straight up dogs and are just being that way and not caring who they run through, who they hurt, who they screw over in their lives, whether it's their significant other or their freaking child that they're not seeing or whatever. So, I mean, that's wisdom being like, okay, I might not need to do this because I'm not ready for it. So,
but at the same time, it never stops. So, although that might be a good thing, who's to say I haven't overcorrected, and that has become a problem for me. And the fact that now that I'm so hyper aware of not doing one thing, that I cause another problem for me in another direction.
It could.
Yeah. That's called self-sabotage and self-delusion sometimes. I could be going around thinking like I'm the greatest guy because I ain't hurt no women or whatever. Yeah, but you ain't brought anything into any women's lives either because you avoid relationships.
But you're not responsible for doing that though.
Correct.
You're responsible for you.
But that's something I have to learn. That's my challenge.
Oh, okay. Not taking on all the problems of other people. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's wisdom.
Or it's more so of, Derek, well, people get hurt in relationships. It doesn't mean you intentionally do it. That's just the cost of admission. And you deal with that. You just can't avoid this major thing in life because no matter what your noble intentions for it are.
Right.
I mean, you can be a monk. Monks are great people. They know all things. They can levitate and all that shit. But they are missing out on a different aspect of life until they leave the monastery and they breathe into life and or whatever. And then they like.
But it's not necessarily missing out if that's not what they desire.
Correct.
I think it's when you start really thinking about your desires.
And your life doesn't line up to it.
What you're doing to get to them or not get to them, that's when you're like, okay, course correction time. Maybe I need to do, Yeah,
it's interesting. My favorite book is Siddhartha. I don't know if you ever read it.
Siddhartha? No, but it sounds familiar.
They might have made you read it in high school. But yeah, it's basically about that. This guy had basically lived like every life in a life. When something didn't fill him up or he had reached everything into it, he was like, well, let me try something else. All in the overall arc.
Don't elbow me in the mouth. You're very animated. You're very, and I'm.
Masculine, feminine. I'm can't draw blood. I'm so scared of hurting a woman, so you just triggered me right there.
Okay, I apologize.
You know what I mean? That wasn't my intention. I have to risk hurting you in order to get over mine.
Hurting me.
I'm not gonna elbow it.
Okay, thank you.
I could force it with me.
Siddhartha.
So back to Siddhartha. So on the overarching goal of trying to find truth and purpose and the meaning of life, he had to live like different lives. He didn't stay stuck in one. He was a prince. He was like, this is just showing me luxury and rich, and I got everything at my feet. So he left and became an ascetic. He lived on the street and he prayed all day. Did that for years and learned that didn't give him enlightenment. So then he went and followed a spiritual leader. Mm-hmm. That didn't work. He went off on his own. Then he entered the worldly world. Got into business, started from the ground up. Okay. Made money from there, from being just an apprentice. And then when that didn't fill him up, or he learned all he had to do in that, he went on to something. It's like, I've never had a relationship. Let me learn the arts of love. Fell in love with a $40 woman, a prostitute, who taught him love and how to make love, because that was her bag. Okay. So and then she got pregnant. She died. He moved on, and it's a long story short. But he ends up with his child back. He didn't raise his child. His child came when the mother died. It's some Forrest Gump stuff. Okay. And then he had frustrations trying to impart everything that he knew on his son, to the point where that gave him pain, and he had to let his son go and crash into his own beliefs. So yeah, he just dealt with different challenges, and it's all about acceptance and realizing that no matter what stage you're in, there's another stage. It's just a matter of you realizing when you've been in this stage long enough and when it's time. Because if you stay in your comfort zone, that's the most dangerous place,
there's
ironically.
No there.
Yes.
I want to read Lena's comment. She said, hurt happens in relationships. Crap. Somebody would comment as soon as I was looking at that. She said, hurt happens in relationships. It's the behavior after the hurt happens that matters the most. And I 100% agree with that, because that's life. Like, you're going to hurt people, unfortunately. And this is Adrian.
I almost elbowed you just now.
Thank you for not doing that. I appreciate it. Okay. Adrian replying to Lena, said, not necessarily. As is the case with everything, there are levels to it, right? No one wants to go into anything feeling like they have to change the very essence of them in order to be with someone, which I don't think anyone said anything about changing themselves. So in some cases, take me as I am is saying, don't try to change me, or don't expect me to change to fit what you want, because in many cases we are attracted to people as they are when we meet them. People can and do evolve and mature on their own. We can't force people to change. I 100% agree with not being able to force people to change and accepting them for who they are.
When is the show? Like, what's our time?
I usually do like 30 minutes. We can do an hour. If you're like, it's been 37 minutes now. We started late.
I talk too much. We talked about this beforehand.
Okay.
Can I say one thing about that?
Okay, go ahead.
So with that, then.
The Adrian or
yes,
Lena? Adrian.
The Adrian, I agree. I mean, I agree with both of them, actually.
Yeah.
I just read something the other day. It says, you saw what you saw. People can't see what you saw, even if they saw the same thing.
Perception.
Correct. Everyone's has a bit of truth, and it's just accepting that. So anyway, my question to Adrian, and to respond to that, so then with marriage vows, we make a vow on April 15th. I don't use tax day, or June 20th. To I love you and I will love you forever and ever and ever and ever. The hubris of that, to say, I'm going to tell you I'm going to love you forever when I don't even know what the weather is going to be next week. Granted, knowing that I'm not the same person as 5 years ago. You weren't the person 5 years ago, and I don't expect you to be 5 years ago. We both are going to change. We may change in different directions. So how do you deal with that? Because vows are very static.
Well, see, the thing about vows are you can write your own, and I think that's something that more people should take advantage of. I plan on writing my own, but
there's writing your own, and there's being honest with writing your own.
I'm not talking about lying for me personally, because I'm not gonna lie.
I like you for now, lying. And we'll see where this go. You gonna do that?
See, okay, so what you're saying about talking about I don't even know what the weather is. Let's say you say for every day of March I'm going to go work out 30 minutes regardless of what happens. If you're committed to that, regardless if it rains, regardless if you have to jump around in your living room for 30 minutes to get your 30 minutes of exercise in, if you're committed to it, you're going to do it, period. And I think that is what, to me, that's part of what marriage is. Committing to it. Committing to you when I don't like you, because I'm going to have those days. Because, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, you don't always like the person. They may piss you off. They may say something disrespectful or something that they don't see as disrespectful, but you do. They may not support your dreams in the way that you want them to. But you know what? I said I'm going to love you regardless of this, and we're going to go through this together, and we're going to grow together. And also, in response to the growing thing, you kind of went that way, like you have to grow apart, but you can also grow together. And I feel like in our growth, that's where our commitment has to stay, because in your growth, you may decide that, you know, I think that I should be able to go on a vacation by myself once a year. And initially, that might not have been the thing. We may have always vacationed together. But if I love you, I respect you, we know that we don't have any issues with fidelity. Part of my growth may be being like, okay, well, enjoy your once a year vacation, yada, yada, yada. I'm just using that as an example. Do what y'all want. I'm single. So yeah, I think, and also another thing, I think age has a little bit to do with it, just because there are so many things that you can experience in life. And that's why most people are like, oh, don't get married too young. Because I know for a fact, hell, I'm about to be 38. I'm not even the same person I was when I was 30. Mm-hmm. So having lived life and having gotten a few stamps on your passport and having gone through jobs and quitting or getting fired and just having to experience the ups and downs, I think bringing that to a relationship helps, as opposed to being 21 and you don't really know anything except like, I love him and I want to be with him for the rest of my life. So
that's so sweet and soft.
It is. Let me see if I can grab a couple of these comments real quick. Oh yeah, Adrian's basically saying you should grow together, but we're very much so individuals. But even with that, being willing to vow to love each other unconditionally. The unconditionally, I think, means in your growth and maturity. But your growth and maturity should be bringing the two of you. Girl, you better preach that thing this morning, Adrian. Okay, sorry. She said exactly. I don't know who Warren Glover is. Duke, is that your friend? Okay, hey, hi, friend. Okay, so this is the last thing I want to ask you about. Hopefully this is okay. It's not like super personal. We were having some conversation, and you said something about not wanting to waste a woman's time taking her out on a date. So something to that effect. I don't remember the exact wording. What are your expectations from someone on a first date? I'm just curious.
Really, my first dates, I just want to go out and have fun. Like, I don't even really need to do the little first questions and the resume checking or whatever. Mm-hmm. Can we just go out and just enjoy each other?
Have a good time? Absolutely.
And on the second date, then we get down to sort of brass tacks or whatever. Go out and enjoy the other person or being with another person. Like.
So with that said, let's say you happen to be going to the gas station to fill up your tank, you saw a beautiful woman, would you ask her out on a date just because you saw her and you were attracted to her?
If I got that unctioning.
If you got the unctioning.
I got that.
But the unctioning seems like it's deeper than just someone to go out and have fun with.
I'm a deep person. So if I know.
But not on the first date.
Okay. You said I might have missed something.
Well, no, I just want to. Because I feel like a lot of people, especially women, put a lot of pressure on the first date.
Yeah.
And it feels like an interview. Hi, Derek. How are you?
Yes.
How many kids do you want? Do you plan on being married? And I feel like there's a way to ask these questions and get the information in more of a conversational, I'm having a good time, let's get to know each other kind of way, as opposed to an interview. Because I had somebody interview me. It was freaking horrible. I don't even remember the dude's name. All I knew was I was gonna be like, kind of. He might as well, and
we'll get back to that in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I'll end on this.
Okay.
I recently there's this podcast called Dateable.
Dateable.
It's not no plug.
Who's
I've only listened to like one episode, one or two episodes, but they had this one called The Science of Love. They had a behavioral economist on there. Not gonna get into all of that.
Okay.
She basically uses statistics and our mental models to evaluate how we make decisions. Okay. But she applies that field to dating and relationships. One insight, and she had a lot of insights just in this one episode. Mm-hmm. She's writing a book on it or whatever, about the flaws in dating apps or how we make perceptions and how we make decisions and how we lock ourselves in. She said this is one thing. Mm-hmm. With the first.
No, did I sigh?
No.
Okay.
No. Just about the first dates and everything.
Okay.
She says a lot of times we go on these first dates and it's a reason to reject someone. The long and short of it, she says, because we set up these mental models that actually hamper us, that self-sabotage that I said. Go out, and unless it's a freaking disaster, before you go out on the first date, already have in your mind, like, give it 2 dates.
Oh, yeah.
Because a lot of people, like, last couple of days I got, like, I didn't get a second date. And I was like, I had no idea. I was like, I left the date like, that was great, and I didn't get a second date.
I've had that happen, like, maybe once or twice when I thought it was just my best date ever. He's going to call me tomorrow. Phone just dry as the Sahara. So, yeah.
Because even if it's bland, a lot of people open up on the second date. Like, give it 2 dates before the commitment that you talk about. She also talked about how arranged marriages have a higher success rate than our romantic relationships, at least within the first 4 years. And people wonder about that. The issue is, one, the tribe helps choose. So you're not just stuck in your bubble. You have people close to you that know you in aspects that you don't know. And second, you commit to the marriage, not necessarily the person, the process. So you grow to, once you're committed to the marriage, you will work out the things rather than, I don't like you right now, so you know what? Why did I do this?
It's been real. I'm going to go down and get the divorce.
So the next time you get asked on a date or you go on a date, get a person 2 dates, period, unless it's just
a deal breaker.
Correct.
Unless he or she shows one of her deal breakers, or you discuss one of your deal breakers on the first date and you know that it's uncompromisable, then don't bother. But for me, like, I usually will give it like 2 dates, because I mean, you know, sometimes people are nervous on the first day, or sometimes they didn't like necessarily pick the best place or whatever, and you don't want all of them, or they have a headache or whatever. So I'm going to read a couple of these comments, and then we're going to go ahead and get up off of here. Your friend Warren, could you sit back, please? I know you're blind, but if you could sit back a little bit. Hold on. Dang it, why is it not? Hold on. Bear with me, you guys. Okay, no. Okay, Warren Glover says, I think it's only like that dating after 35 or so. Ladies tend to want to get straight to the point on the first date. So, guess what, woman over 35? Hi, you guys. But I think there's a way of doing that. There's a way of asking the guy, you know, well, you know, do you have children? Oh, do you want that? Okay. And just continuing with the conversation. You don't just be like, you're not so stern. Like, use your femininity, girls, and just be like, oh, you know, and just be fun. If you don't, Google it, femininity, and Google April Mason. She can help you. So that's just my quick little thing about being a woman over 35. So there's a way of going about that. And my thing is, even if you do, you know, even if he or she reveals one of their deal breakers on that first date, that doesn't mean you still can't have a good time. Like, you can make a new friend or whatever. And if a guy doesn't want to be your friend after that, that's fine too. Lena says, yep, folks self-sabotage a lot. I used to do it. Yeah, I think most of us do. Adrian says, during combos 1 through 3, we're having combos that cover our, or at least my, non-negotiables. Yep. And that jumped up because somebody made a comment. I also see how he talks to me. If we can't get past 1 to 3 combos, we're not going out. Simple. I 1000% agree with that. All right. So that being said, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. The sun is going down. But let me just talk about how these melanins right here is popping. I'm just saying that sunshine like had us lit today.
I feel activated. You feel it?
I do. I feel like charged. All right. So, well, this has been a May You Are Real and Uncut with my new segment I'm calling One Man's Opinion. That one man is Derek.
Just an inaugural episode.
Yes.
Oh, great.
So do you want to leave anything? Do you want to leave the people with any final thoughts?
Be great, people. Ladies, be soft. Guys, keep 220s on
you. Hi, you guys. Yeah.